Stephen Hawking's life is a breathtaking testament to the strength of the human spirit, a story that begins in the most ordinary of ways but ascends to extraordinary greatness. Born on January 8, 1942, exactly 300 years after Galileo's death, in Oxford, England, Stephen wasn't born into wealth or power, but into a family that valued education and intellectual curiosity. He wasn't a prodigy child, nor was he particularly disciplined as a student in his early years. In fact, many of his teachers considered him lazy and unmotivated. His handwriting was poor, he rarely turned in his homework, and he often seemed disinterested in class. But beneath that seemingly indifferent exterior was a mind that quietly observed the universe, waiting for its spark to ignite. That spark would not come from structured schooling but from his relentless curiosity about how things work, from clocks and radios to the universe itself. Stephen was always asking questions, and while the world saw him as a laid-back student, he was nurturing a storm of thought that would one day change how we see time, space, and existence itself. He went on to study at Oxford University, where he at first found the academic atmosphere dull and uninspiring. Still, in classic Hawking style, he coasted through with minimal effort, earning a first-class honors degree in physics. But everything changed when he moved to Cambridge to pursue his PhD in cosmology. Just as his academic life was beginning to flourish, tragedy struck. Stephen Hawking was diagnosed with ALS, amyotrophic lateral sclerosis, a rare and incurable motor neuron disease. He was just 21 years old and was told he had only 2 years to live. Imagine that moment. A brilliant young man, standing on the edge of scientific discovery, suddenly staring down the tunnel of mortality. Most would have crumbled. Most would have given up. But not Stephen Hawking. Instead of falling into despair, something extraordinary happened. He decided that if he was going to live a short life, it would be a life of meaning. The illness that was supposed to silence him actually awakened his greatest voice. While his body began to betray him, his speech slurring, his movements restricted, his mind soared into realms that few could even dream of. He poured his energy into the study of black holes, time, and the origins of the universe. As his physical world shrank, his intellectual world expanded infinitely. His doctoral thesis challenged the very nature of the cosmos. He proposed groundbreaking theories about singularities and black holes, suggesting that the universe itself may have emerged from a singular point, a concept that would lay the foundation for much of modern cosmology. Despite his declining health, Stephen's mind never slowed down. He was given a voice synthesizer after losing the ability to speak, and though the machine spoke in a robotic American accent, it carried ideas that shook the scientific world. His best-selling book, A Brief History of Time, brought complex scientific concepts to millions of readers, many of whom had never read a physics book before. It spent over 200 weeks on the Sunday Times bestseller list and was translated into dozens of languages. That book alone inspired an entire generation to look up at the stars with wonder, not fear. Stephen didn't just break through scientific frontiers, he broke through physical, emotional, and psychological barriers. He continued to teach, write, and speak despite being paralyzed and confined to a wheelchair. He raised 3 children, gave lectures around the world, and collaborated with other scientists in pursuit of knowledge that stretched the limits of human understanding. Through sheer willpower, he refused to let his disease define him. In fact, he often joked about it, saying, "Life would be tragic if it weren't funny." His sense of humor, humility, and resilience became just as legendary as his scientific achievements. Stephen Hawking appeared on popular TV shows, collaborated with musicians, and even explored the possibility of space travel. His curiosity remained insatiable. He once said, "Look up at the stars and not down at your feet." That line sums up the very essence of who he was. A man who, even when trapped in a body that no longer functioned, taught humanity to dream bigger, to think deeper, and to question everything. His legacy goes beyond the equations he left behind. It lies in the hearts of those he inspired. He proved that limitations are often only in the mind, that greatness is not reserved for the healthy, and that the human will, when paired with passion and purpose, can defy any fate. From a student dismissed as lazy to a scientist whose name is etched in the stars, Stephen Hawking's journey reminds us that even when life throws its harshest obstacles our way, we are capable of rising beyond them. He didn't just live, he illuminated the path for others to follow. He didn't just fight a disease, He redefined what it means to live fully with it. He didn't just survive. He thrived and inspired millions to keep going no matter what. Stephen Hawking died in 2018 at the age of 76, far beyond the 2 years he was given. And in those years, he created a lifetime of impact. So whenever you feel small, broken, or lost, remember Stephen. Remember the boy once labeled lazy who dared to ask the biggest questions of the universe. Remember the man whose body was failing but whose spirit never surrendered. And most of all, remember that greatness isn't about what happens to you, it's about how you respond to it. Keep dreaming, keep questioning, and never stop reaching for the stars. Because like Stephen Hawking once said, however difficult life may seem, there is always something you can do and succeed at. It matters that you don't just give up.